Now the next thing I want to look at is just a few models of success in this ummah. And the first model that I want to use is Suhaib al-Rumi. And there are many Sahaba, I can choose from any of them because they're all models of success. Suhaib al-Rumi, the reason I choose to take him is, first of all, he was a slave who was stolen in his youth by Byzantines. He was raised amongst the Byzantines and finally escaped from them and ended up in Mecca poor and bereft. But the man was a man of success. He became a wealthy merchant in Mecca very quickly. When the Sahaba were making hijrah, Suhaib al-Rumi made hijrah alone. He thought he was going to make hijrah with the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet made hijrah with Abu Bakr. He made his hijrah alone. The Quraysh followed him out, and he finally sat his arrows, and he saw the Quraysh in front of him, and he said, Ya Quraysh, innakum ta'lamuna inni armakum. You know that I'm one of the best archers amongst you. And wallahi, if you come near to me, I'll throw every arrow at you and take many of you, and I'll kill many of you. But if you let me go, then I'll tell you where I hid my wealth in Mecca, and you can go and take it. And they agreed with that, and they were people, even though they were mushrikeen, they were people of wafa, not of ghadab. And so they gave him his aman, and then they went back and they took his wealth. When he got to Medina, the first thing the Prophet ﷺ said to him, Rabihat tijaratuka ya Aba Yahya. Your tijara with Allah that was successful. Your tijara with Allah was successful. Rabihat tijaratuka ya Aba Yahya. You traded dunya for akhirah, and that is what gave you your success. Rabihat tijaratuka ya Aba Yahya. Rabihat tijaratuka ya Aba Yahya. Who told him? Man anba'aka? Who told you what the Suhaib al-Rumi did in the middle of the desert? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the gift of Suhaib al-Rumi to this ummah. Min an-nas, from those who sell themselves, seeking only the desire of Allah, seeking only the contentment of Allah. The next successful model I want to use is a black woman who we don't even know her name, who used to sweep the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. And when she died, this woman who these Sahaba prayed over and the Prophet ﷺ was not informed. When he saw that she wasn't in the masjid anymore, he said, where's that old black woman? And they said, she died, Ya Rasulullah. He said, why didn't you tell me so I could pray over her? This is a woman whose name is not even mentioned in the books. We just know she was a black woman who used to sweep the masjid. And she was successful because the Prophet noticed her and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala noticed her. And another one is Zuhair, who was a simple Bedouin who used to come to Medina. And he used to sell things in the souk. And one day Jibreel came and said, should I show you someone who Allah loves and you should love? And he said yes, and he took him out and he showed him this poor Bedouin Zuhair. And he said, Ya Zuhair. He came up from behind him and he covered his eyes. And Zuhair smelt the scent of the Prophet on his palms. And he said, Man yashtari hadha al-abd? The Prophet said, who will buy this slave? And Zuhair said, Idan tarani kasidan ya Rasulullah. Then you see me that I'm somebody that's not moving in the market. I'm not worth anything. And the Prophet said, Anta lasta bi kasid and Allah. You're not worthless in the eyes of Allah. And he used to say to this man, Anta badiyatuna wa nahnu hadirukum. You are our desert and we are your city. And so this is another man who was successful in this life and in the next life. A simple merchant that sold simple things from the desert on the streets of Medina. And I want to say there are many women that I could use it as examples, and I think it's important to mention one of our most successful women. And that is Aisha radiallahu anha, one of the greatest intellectuals and scholars of this ummah, who was in the house of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not wasting her time in frivolity, but learning and absorbing the knowledge of this deen, to the point where all of the Sahaba recognized Aisha and went to her for guidance and for fatwa. And Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, who is the model of a woman who, again, much is unknown of her life, but we know who she produced. Hassan wa Hussein, Shababa Ahl al-Jannah, the two youth of the people of Jannah, and look at their lives, Hassan and Hussein. And this is a woman who her children are a testimony of who she is. And I will say every single man that I mentioned, behind him is their mother. Every single man of success in this dunya and in akhirah, behind that man is the mother or the murabbiya who raised that man. And the women should recognize that we have countless women in the history of Islam whose names are unknown to us. But the works that they produced are in the children that they produced, the men and the women that they produced. And Malik ibn Anas, there is no Malik ibn Anas without Malik. There is no Malik ibn Anas without the mother of Malik, who when he went to study first, he said she used to tie the turban on my head. His mother used to tie the turban on his head, and she would say to him, "Khudh min hilmi ibn Hurmuz qabla an ta'khudha min ilmi." Take from his forbearance before you take from his knowledge, because the woman knows the importance of forbearance. And the murdiya, the murabbiya of the Prophet is Halima, is the woman of hilm. You see, these are the successful people.